Morning. I'm going to break the silence, you guys. This meeting is way too quiet so far. How is everybody? Ginger!
Really good.
Ginger, you're muted. Muted.
There she goes.
I know. I was trying to figure out how to make the screen bigger so I could see all the beautiful faces.
I have mine in gallery view, and then there's a little like double line on the right side of the presentation, and I just shifted it over.
Yeah. I think I've got it. Oh, yeah.
Hello, little doggy. Do you need to go outside? Hold on, you guys. She's just...
Yeah, I was about to break the silence too because it's so quiet.
Just a little angel.
It's time to socialize.
I know, that's the part I missed most about being in person is that quick social hour. Hold on one second, I gotta put her on.
I was so bad about not being there on time though. It's hard.
Yeah, but if Trump's new diagnosis of testing positive is any indication that we're doing the right thing, we're doing the right thing.
Trump tested positive? Oh my gosh.
Trump and Milana trusted. I don't know how to say her name.
I'm not surprised because they refuse to wear the mask and do the things, but oh my gosh, that's horrible. I don't want to hear that anybody, I don't want to hear regardless of what I believe or whatever, it's awful to hear that people are catching it.
Yeah.
I know that they are, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Well, because how many people could he have already infected just
right.
in his...
Because of who he is and how much contact he has with people. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally.
Right. There's a reason why we're not doing classes and volunteer events at Grow this year. And it's horrible, but that's what we're doing.
Here in Sumner County, we're sending kids to school 5 days a week.
Oh, I'm aware because we were in Gordonsville. I had moved out to Gordonsville last year. So I was already trying to drive an hour because that's near Carthage. Mm-hmm. And I put them both in public school and we made it till March. Tornado hit, COVID hit, and we decided to quarantine with friends in Sparta. So we moved further away from Nashville. We moved all the way to Sparta.
Right.
And I had to take my oldest daughter's books back to the Gordonsville High School a couple weeks ago. Because we still had some of her library books out. And I walked into the high school and there were multiple groups of students walking in the halls, no face masks, no social distancing. None of the staff had face masks on. I was horrified. I was like, oh my God. I'm standing there in my little face mask, trying not to touch anything or look at any person. And I'm like, ah, it was horrible. It was horrible. And I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. And so now we're getting ready. There's a really kind TWIG member who offered a home for our family to rent in Jolton, and we said yes. So our family is moving to Jolton, and luckily Davidson County is all online so far. I don't know what we're going to do if they say they want us to report to the building, because I don't want to report to the building.
Right. I feel like with this latest news, even the right has to kind of admit that it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially right now they're saying they feel fine, but especially if they start to show symptoms or feel sick or something.
Well, I mean, just hi. He's not in the best health to begin with.
No.
Just saying. So, yeah. That's a thing.
Hey there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am
fabulous.
Oh my gosh, stop it. You guys are fabulous.
Let me see some of those Lululemons, girl.
Oh gosh. I'm wearing my full outfit today, actually. So I'm at work, so I might have to get rid of my video and everything during the meeting, but I just wanted to say hello. How's everybody doing? Y'all look good too.
Yeah.
I mean, all things considered, doing good.
I know, right? I mean, it's a strange question. You're like, I'm great, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on that I'm not so sure about, but
I'm great, but my whole life fell apart and now I'm trying to create a new one. And yeah, that's chill.
Totally. I get it. 100%.
I have a plethora of tomatoes from the garden I started.
Nice.
Wow.
That I harvested. They're still green, but I'm like, I don't want you to freeze to death overnight. I put them in my window.
We have a yard full of jalapeno peppers, no tomatoes. The tomatoes did not succeed this year, but the peppers did. So pepper salsa, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see. I got crazy tomatoes. I got lots of basil, which I ended up killing yesterday, that I harvested. Apparently did not like soaking in vinegar water while I was like,
oh God,
my nephews.
So just so you know, for future gardening endeavors, vinegar is equivalent to Roundup to all plants. Like you can kill everything with just straight vinegar.
Yeah, I killed it. It's dead.
Yeah.
It's gone. I have like 10 leaves left after like a stack of basil that's like huge.
Oh gosh.
I mean, but it's not like I bought it at the store and I'm out $50. I'm out a pack of dollar seeds.
But and all the sunshine and hope and anticipation.
The pesto that I was gonna make. The pesto.
You were robbed. Mercy.
Ginger, when are you coming back to
Nashville? To Hotbox?
When are you coming back to hang out?
Soon. So we were supposed to sign the lease yesterday, but it got moved to I think Tuesday.
New place?
Yeah. We have a new
exciting.
place. We're moving to Jolton. And she was so sweet. She was like, yeah, there's a yard for you and your daughter could keep her ducks. And I was like, okay, great. And then we got there. The yard is 35 acres.
What?
And it's 35 acres of woodlands and 2 open pastures. So not only do we get to keep the ducks, but we also get to keep our fainting goats with us. And
amazing.
And the home is only 18 minutes from the Nashville School of Ballet because, you know, both my girls have full scholarships there. So we're like running our butts off. I'm driving to Nashville 4 days a week to take the girls to ballet from Sparta, Tennessee.
That's great.
So I'm like so excited. It'll put me like right there close to the ballet. Janesta has gotten super excited about classes at the ballet this year. This is her 6th year of training. And so she finally has like gotten to the point where the muscle memory has kicked in and she's realizing how strong she is and she's getting super excited about her dance career. And so it's been really good. I mean, it's been nice living in Sparta because we have access to all the waterfalls here. So it's been a long summer of hiking, lots of hiking. But yeah, next week we sign the lease and then I think the start date is the 15th. So by the end of October, we'll be back in the city. I'm crazy excited.
Wow. That is exciting. You look
fresh. I'm ready. So is Hotbox open?
Yeah, we've been open since June 23rd.
Okay.
Not full capacity, so classes are a little, I mean, they're full, but it's actually been working out because I think everyone's just kind of getting in the hang of how it's working again. And, we're being a little more assertive with signing in for class and canceling your class so that other people can get in instead of just like letting it go. There is a no-show fee now, but yeah, we're cleaning a ton. You know, I have to wear my mask when people are around. And when you enter the building, of course, you have to have your masks on. It's mandatory, but once you're working out, it's personal choice whether or not you want to keep it on. But things have been going really well here. I've actually started a sustainable, it's a Get Green campaign for Hotbox, and Lululemon is supporting my zero waste initiative. So
I saw the news release. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
It's really cool. It's really cool to bring all of my passions together. Like everything is coming together. So it's really cool. It's not, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely a challenge, but it takes time and patience. And I know that with sustainability in general, it just takes time. So
Yeah.
working it out, doing our best.
Yes.
Did everyone just get a little poll?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just
Yes.
launched a little poll, some questions about TWIG and about state parks.
Hi, Kelly.
Cheers.
State parks.
Yay, it's here too. Yay. All the people. I actually like this Zoom thing better because I can see all the names and put faces.
We have name tags. When we
I
go
know,
to
but
meetings.
it's when you're like, you have to move around the room. But now here I can see everybody all at once. Hi, Jenny.
Oh, that's nice.
Who else?
Yeah.
Yay, yay, yay. Oh my gosh. Man. Yeah. So Maris, I'm excited to move back in, and I'm in better physical fitness than when you left me, and I wasn't doing too bad when everything hit. But
You were
yeah,
doing great,
I'm down to 119 of pure lean muscle now.
Whoa.
Like so ready.
Like I said, you look great. You look very fresh and healthy.
Yeah, that hiking did me some good. That's how I survived the quarantine. It's just like, I can't cope today, so which waterfall shall it be?
Amazing. Where did you go?
So Fall Creek Falls is closest to our house, and that gives us a lot of options. And then we also are close to Burgess Falls, Cummins Falls, and then there's some smaller ones that we've been to around.
Well, that little poll was just perfect for you then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Falls Creek Falls. It's such a great park.
I don't think I've been there.
It's really nice. There's some good hiking, and just like a nice myriad of trails.
There's something specific that Maris would like there. Maris, if you look it up, look for something called the Cable Trail. And it's on a trail that they call the Pawpaw Trail, which is exciting for me because
Cable Trail. I'm writing it down.
But so that you take the Pawpaw Trail, and then there's a split off that they call the Cable Trail. Pawpaw, like pawpaw trees. And it's literally like there's a steel cable that runs straight down the hillside and rocks, and you have to like basically rock climb it all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That would be your jam.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trail out this way. I'm not sure. So northeast of the city, right, is probably maybe an hour from Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
It is Winding Steps Park. I'm not sure if it's a state park or not, but they've got similar trails like that. One of them's like the Dead Man's like hike or something, but there's a few little like offshoots trails that I was not all about. I took the safe route, but even then there's some that are pretty steep and you kind of have to hold through like a cable to get down the side. More people keep coming in, so everybody's moving around now. I'm like, Maris was over there, now she's moving around. So
do you know what park that's in, Winding Steps?
I think that just is the park. So if you're searching on your Google Maps or something, just look for Winding Steps, and it's pretty.
I think it's Winding Stairs. Is it Winding Stairs, Casey?
Here, let me look. Google.
I think I've been there. Winding Stairs.
Renee, what's your favorite park in Tennessee?
So I really
Winding Stairs.
Winding
And
Stairs.
it's in Lafayette. Hold on.
I really like South Cumberland State Park like oversees a few of the state natural areas that aren't exactly state parks, but I like those natural areas a lot. So I picked South Cumberland State Park.
South Cumberland.
Yeah, that whole area. I love that area. Like Savage Gulf and that whole section.
Yay! I accidentally minimized the survey thing, and I don't exactly know how to find it to finish it. That's the thing. Anybody know how to find it? My screen is big with all the beautiful faces.
If you, I'm not sure actually. Let me minimize. When you like move your mouse around at the bottom, do you see? polls. Found
Okay.
it?
Yes. Thank you. I'm gonna mute for a second.
Okay.
Yay.
Has anyone been to that state park that's all the way in the northwest corner, and they have like eagles and stuff? It's like a lake. Jennifer Smith, you've been there.
Are you talking about Reelfoot?
Yeah, Reelfoot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I've always wanted to go like during when the eagles are nesting and stuff. I haven't made it out there yet.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the birders hang out over there. The bird people love that area. I was surprised Radnor Lake State Park wasn't on the list. That's the closest one to us, and it's awesome.
I know.
Except for the crowded parking lots, it's awesome.
And I have never been because I'm always feel bad for leaving the dog out. I'm like, I can't go hiking without you.
That's true. Yeah, the no dog policy is kind of a bummer.
It is. I mean, I get it in some places, but like, it's so, I don't know.
Yeah, there's deer walking right up to you and all different types of birds and
Yeah, a lot of herons and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would
Good bird.
totally mess it up for sure.
Yeah.
So
And there's lots of turtles too, so it's a good place for the kids to watch turtles, and it's such a neat area. Some good hiking trails there too.
turtle.
I literally grew up with Radnor as my backyard, and I didn't even think to put it on the survey.
There's so many good ones. We do have a lot of good state parks, so.
Yeah. I
Maybe
will
some
say,
con-
I went to Natchez Trace State Park, which is about halfway between here and Memphis, and it boasted 40 miles of hiking.
No.
Not unless you're willing to walk through overgrown trails that have ivy. No.
Yep. That is the problem. Some of the trails aren't maintained in some of the state parks that aren't real popular. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to check ahead for that stuff. I'm not really sure how you check ahead, but we have run into that issue a couple times as well.
Yeah, it seemed to be a really good park if you have a boat and you're into like the water sports like that, but it was not for hiking or trails. I think we maybe were able to get like 6 miles in total.
Got it.
But I did finish the book for the book club over that like weekend trip, so that was nice. So
Awesome.
Was that Untamed? Which book was it?
That was the Black Faces, White Spaces.
Oh. How was it? I haven't read it yet.
I really enjoyed it. And it made a lot of different points that I think I'd never thought about before as far as inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just the idea, and it was just super obvious too, that it's a little scary to go from the city that's kind of safe through all of these rural backwards towns, essentially, right, that are not so safe. And on our way out, I see over the bridge, like coming across this car with its like Trump and Confederate flags going by. And I'm like, yep, that's why. I wouldn't want to drive through that either.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one example that, kind of hit, but I was like, yeah, that does make sense of why it wouldn't be inclusive and that kind of thing, or at least one.
Hey.
I can put a plug in for G Creek, the Hiwassee Ocoee State Parks. That's my virtual screen.
Where's that?
It's
Nice.
from G Creek Campground a couple of weeks ago, or I guess 3 or 4 now. Yeah, went down there and canoed and rafted.
That's
And
awesome.
camped and hiked. Benton Falls area is the falls nearby.
What's the name of the falls?
Benton.
Benton.
I've been writing all these down.
Yeah. Yeah, because I need some new, like I've kind of like worn a path in the Fall Creek Falls area, and I'm ready to go find some new ones. Someone mentioned to me about, I think it's called Stone Door or something like that. That's supposed to be a really good one, and I haven't been there yet.
Very cool place.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely recommend.
Yeah, Stone Door is nice.
Yeah.
The Fiery Gizzard Trail.
That one's in Grundy County, right, Karen?
I want to
think
go
so.
to Fiery Gizzard.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll go with you. I want to go. Can we start a hiking
I heard
group?
about that one.
Can we have like there's book club, but then there's like hiking club? Like I want to do that.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Down for a hiking club.
I recommend Fiery Gizzard in the spring because then the water is really, really flowing and the waterfalls are really nice in like April.
Okay.
Hey, Ginger, there's a Facebook group called Outdoor. Let me see if I can find it. Outdoor Women, Tennessee, or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Outdoor Women of Nashville. #OWN. That's a good one to join because I see that they're always doing like outdoor stuff, hiking, kayaking, canoeing, whatever, and checking out new places.
Okay. Awesome.
sounds like Team Green from ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
Laurel used to do that.
Hmm.
Oh no.
Lindsay wrote, any suggestions on best parks for kids? Does anyone have any?
What's the question?
Best state parks for kids.
Oh, well, Radnor definitely, because it's got lots of doable trails. I take the kids to Edgar Evans State Park. They've got a really good hiking trail there, and they've got a nature center. So those are two places that we go. We also take them to Long Hunter State Park. They've got some nice trails there and some water for the dogs and stuff if you want to take your dogs as well. Those are
like Burgess is very accessible and
yeah, Burgess is good too. Yeah,
trails like a nice paved trail most of the way.
Yeah,
So.
and they have facilities there, bathrooms, which are important for kids and adults.
There was one that we went to when the girls were younger. I think it was called Old Stone Fort.
Love Old Stone
Park, and it was amazing. I don't know if it's a state park, but that place is amazing. It has a really cool nature center that's very educational. But like the hike itself was not too hard, and the waterway runs all the way around it, and there's some huge oak trees there. And like
What's that one?
Old Stone Fort.
Old Stone Fort.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
tied
great.
to culture. It's tied to indigenous cultural history for our state, so it's a really great educational trip too.
Are we making a list, Kelly? Is that kind of what you're doing with all this information?
Nice.
I'm gonna put the link in the chat to where you can see all of them, just so.
And then welcome.
Ooh. Can't see. I'm blind.
John McFadden over there.
I'm here. I had to re-register. I couldn't find the link.
There he is.
How'd you change your background like that? That's a thing.
Oh, go to video settings and what is it? Choose virtual background. That's actually Miami in the background there.
Gorgeous.
One of my synchronized scuba diving trips.
Mm.
Good to see you, John.
Good to see you, Diane. Thanks for your text the other day. Hopefully we can Zoom some coffee, or I'm just going to go to that place over in East Nashville and get me some free coffee. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Sounds good. Tell me when to meet you there. And hey, thanks for the work TEC is doing at that walkway. There's a Peter Jenkins walkway that we just toured. It's 0.4 miles. It's at a
down in Spring Hill
development in Franklin, and TEC is doing restoration work.
Yeah. We've been working down there since 2003. And that's Grassy Branch, which is a part of the Rutherford-McCutcheon Creek watershed, which is on the 303D list, the polluted streams list for sediment. And so, yeah, we've been working down there a long time. I don't get to work down there much anymore, but every now and again they let me come down, and so.
Well, it is the top of the hour, so I guess we're going to go ahead and get started. If you want to mute yourselves, and we'll let Ms. Susanna, our president, take us away.
Thanks, Kelly. Can you guys hear me? Okay, good.
got a new webcam, so that's why I looked so small earlier, trying to get it all figured out. So anyway, welcome. Happy Friday. It's been quite a week, so I know we're all glad to get the week over with and get our weekend started. So just wanted to let you know that your TWIG Board of Directors has been working really hard this year to bring you great programming. So go grab some coffee and a treat and just join us for a relaxing morning with your friends. And after our presentation, don't forget to stay tuned. We have, as usual, lots of fun announcements, so you don't want to miss those. I know we have a lot of new faces today, and we've had a lot of new faces during our virtual monthly experiences. So you may not know all of our board members, so I just want to take a minute and just introduce everybody, and if they're on, just give a little wave. My name is Susanna Medley, and I'm your TWIG president this year. Renee Barker is vice president. Our past president is Laura Maribe, and Leah Sherry is our secretary, and Terry Kevlin is our treasurer.
I'm here virtually.
Kelly Merritt is our program coordinator, and she is the force behind all of these amazing monthly meetings. So just want to let you know that. Membership is Gracelyn Jones. Sponsorship coordinator is Diane Scher. Communications coordinator is Tammy Heimbach. Our hospitality coordinator is Karen Grubbs, and Kristen Westerbeck is our director at large. So thanks to all these amazing ladies for their time and talents. I really appreciate them so much, and I hope you all do too. If you're interested in being more involved with TWIG, we would love to have you serve on a committee or even think about joining us on the board. So you're welcome to email us at any time and let us know if you're interested. So let's just get down to why we're all here this morning. You may have noticed that our original speaker, Marcia Masula, had to reschedule for next month, so she will be our speaker in November. But this morning, we're really lucky that the amazing Kelly Tipler has jumped right in and offered to tell us her story this morning. Kelly is a really inspiring professional who has worked with nonprofit organizations for over 20 years. She is the co-founder of Tennessee Respite Coalition, Pet Community Center, and Turnip Green Creative Reuse. She has a passion for nonprofit service, largely focused on community organizing, and she is currently working with Tennessee State Parks Conservancy and the Actors Bridge Ensemble. She's got a great story for us today, so sit back and enjoy. And with that, Kelly, it's all you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. A couple of things. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pass right away. I have not run through this. I haven't. So forgive me if I need to, shut up. You need to just do this. I was a little bit behind this week because of the change, but I am so happy to be here. I've been a member of TWIG for a very long time. Unfortunately, I haven't made it to many meetings, but I'm super excited and honored to be here today. And, we're in COVID. And so I have taken maybe a little different slant on this morning on my presentation than maybe I would if we weren't in COVID. I think for all of us during this time, we have been super reflective. As we've been at home and having to find creative ways to connect with people and to do our jobs. And so I think my presentation is a little bit more reflection than it is hardcore career-based information. And I'm going to blame it on those of you that asked me to do this because you told me to tell my story. So I'm going to tell my story. And my story is going to start way back. It's going to start when I was a child. And I'm not going to get too deep or anything like that. And we're going to have fun. And I encourage you, if you have anything that you want to interject, I love being interactive. And please, the other Kelly, great name, will be watching the chat, and she can let me know that, you've got something to say, or you connect on a certain point or want to share, and I encourage that. So the other thing about today is that I actually have notes. So if you see my eyes kind of wander off, it's because I'm referencing my notes, so forgive me. And I am going to show you some pictures today, no big graphics or anything like that, just some fun pictures. And so I may be fumbling just a little bit with the slideshow, but I know all of you will forgive me. And it's early in the morning and we haven't had enough coffee, so maybe you won't even notice. Okay, basically, I was just, like I said, thrilled that that TWIG offered me this opportunity, and I am going to see if I can start by, am I allowed to share my screen? Yeah, there we go. All right. So today I said I was going to share my story and basically a little bit about elders is what I'm going to share, but really it's more about lessons learned. And I let's see if I can change that view. There we go. And just again, I just feel kind of humbled and a little awkward sharing my story, but I said I would do it only because all of the stories that I have listened to, like from my grandmother, who you see here, have really impacted my life and sent me on my journey in my career and all of the other things I've done. So I'm going to do it because I found value in it. But again, I feel kind of awkward doing it, but I'm happy to. And my contact information is is on the page. If you guys want to get in touch with me, please do. On anything at all, I would be more than happy to talk with you and connect. Okay, I'm back. So essentially, I grew up in Illinois, middle Illinois, right smack in the middle of cornfields and soybean fields. And I was a very social child. I would yell at the neighbors, hello, how are you doing? As soon as they got home from work. I was an overachiever. I always wanted to do more and better. And I also grew up in a very tense household. It wasn't all butterflies and rainbows. It was a good life, but it was a very, very tense household. And I always knew that something needed to be fixed and that something wasn't right. And I carried a lot of responsibility for that. And I didn't really understand it. And so all of those things, being an overachiever, being very social, and all of those things really led me to think through, like, okay, how does a kid do this? Well, I decided I wanted to be a social worker at a very, very young age. I decided, that is my path out of this, tense environment. So that is from elementary school, I wanted to be a social worker. The things that I learned from that is that when I was young, is that I was responsible for everyone else's struggles. I could fix and support anyone. And when looking back on that now, what I realize is that was kind of dumb, but it really did impact me, and it sent me along my journey, and it helped me in my career and moved me forward. So I'm grateful for that, even though I hope my children don't feel that way. Anyway, family was very important to me growing up, and is now. I loved my grandparents, especially my grandma Tipler. And if we're friends on Facebook, you know this because I post, even though she's gone, I post her picture all the time. I just love Grandma Tipler. She was just a really strong force. We used to call her the tornado because she had everything done before 10 o'clock in the morning and was ready to do whatever else she needed to do for the day for everybody in her life. I got a lot of traits from her. My grandfather was diagnosed with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's pretty young in their retirement, which wasn't fair at all. But my grandmother cared for him, and she cared for him at home for a long time until it got to the point where she couldn't any longer. She, you know, she was maybe 5 feet tall, just a little smidge of a person, with huge, big impact on the world. But my grandfather was over 6 feet tall, and it was hard to care for him as he declined. So he went into a nursing home, and while he was in the nursing home, she continued to care for him, because she was the overachiever as well. And she really, really was loyal to her marriage. And so she went to the nursing home 3 times a day. She spent several hours there. She made sure he was fed, he was clean, he was shaved, and that man had more massages on his feet than I think anybody has in their whole life. He was bedridden and never had a bed sore, which if you're in healthcare, you understand, like, that's pretty much not, it's pretty unheard of. So she was just a rock star caregiver. I was very inspired by her as I watched her. But she needed a break too. You know, if any of you have children, you know, or animals, you know, especially if they're seniors, how much care it takes for those beings in our world. And it can be pretty intensive. And if you don't have time for yourself, you end up sort of declining yourself. And I watched my grandmother do that. I watched this woman who, her hair was like perfect always. I never really knew what hair color she had, because she always looked great. And I watched her sort of, you know, meld into this person that I didn't recognize anymore. So she ended up, you know, through some encouragement and some little bit of pushing and prodding, because she was pretty stubborn too. And I got a little of that from her too. And she ended up using an adult daycare for my grandpa to get a few hours a couple times a week, just to get a break so she could go to the doctor, take care of herself, maybe take a shower, because she couldn't do that when she was caring for him. And during that time, and this was when he was still at home, and during that time, I was like, oh, you know, because I was responsible, I was an overachiever and all of this, and I was probably 12. I thought, well, I need to do something too. I need to be part of this solution. And so I started volunteering at the adult day center. And I'm going to flip right now to some photos that are no joke, over 30 years old. And you'll see when you see them, you'll be like, oh gosh, yeah. This is one of those little, 110 cameras. These are some of the folks that I worked with at the Adult Day Center. And I learned, this was like, outside of my grandparents, this was huge impact for me. These people were so happy. They just enjoyed life, and nobody cared what anybody looked like. Like the woman, I don't remember her name, but in the blue and white checkered dress, she didn't have any teeth, but she talked constantly. She had the biggest smile ever. Her confidence was impactful to me. I thought, man, you know, like, I don't have to look cool to be confident. Like, this lady's doing it. And then Hank in the middle, like, that was his smile always. That's what his face looked like all the time. He was just happy. It didn't matter that, you know, he walked slow or that he had trouble remembering things. Like, he was just happy. And then
Kelly,
Reba.
can you share your screen again? I think I can't see the picture. Sorry.
Thank you. Yes, hold on one second. Ta-da! I told you I was going to struggle with that. Oh, sorry. Okay. So you see the lady in the checkered dress, and you see Hank, and you see Reba. And I just remember looking at her as, you know, a 12 or 13-year-old, very worried about my own appearance and not confident yet, hadn't had any, hadn't had that experience yet of feeling really good and confident about myself, unfortunately. And I remember looking at her thinking, oh my God, she is a goddess from Florida, because Florida was like amazing to me. There was a beach there that I had never seen. And so I remember that. Here's just a few more. The woman in the pink sweater, I don't remember her name either, but what I do remember about her is that she was determined to walk, and it didn't matter that she had a disability. She was determined to walk. And I remember thinking, okay, gosh, she's older, she's in this adult day center, she can't really take care of herself or live alone, but look at her, she's still got goals in life. The woman in the middle was so content. When I think of centeredness, I think about her. She couldn't talk, but you can just see she's just so content. And I don't think it has anything to do with the chair. That is how she was all the time. And then finally, the woman in the floral dress, or shirt, she just always was giggly and smiley, and you could just tell she had a zest for life. And even though she had memory loss, I thought, man, if I could just kind of hone these things, it would be a good life. It would just be a good life. Okay, so some of the things that I took from seeing my grandmother go through these experiences is loyalty and dedication to care for your partner. You give, and you give more. That I loved being around older people. And looking back, though, if I kind of relive that, what I wish that I had known then is, no, you don't give and give and give. You have to take care of yourself at the same time. And that's one of the things Kelly asked me to send in a quote today, and it was, if caring for myself is a loving thing to do. And the end of that quote is, if I don't take care of me, I can't take care of you. And so I just, encourage everybody to remember that, because it's really important, as I learned from my grandmother and as I've learned through my life, because I still battle this today. I still have a card on my desk from 25 years ago that I made for a bunch of caregivers that says that exact quote. So I was volunteering, that's where I was, but volunteering couldn't buy Guess jeans, and Guess jeans were really important in my life at that time. And I was very responsible, even as a kid, but I needed to have fun and be with my friends. And so I started detasseling corn. And back in the Midwest, if you've never heard of detasseling corn in the Midwest, it's basically child labor. Essentially, I walked through cornfields and I pulled the tassels out of corn. It was really, really hard work, and I had to be covered from head to toe in the heat of summer. And it was, but I got to be with my friends, and I got to make a little bit more money, and I got more Guess jeans. It was really cool. And so what I learned from that is that I can do just about anything. Like, even to this day, I think that was the hardest job I ever did. But being with my friends, and it really, made it easier. I just needed to feel like I belonged somewhere. I just needed to feel like I was kind of part of a team. And I really needed to feel like I belonged in a good pair of jeans too, which today is still really important to me. And looking back, as I think through what I might have gained during that time, that carries through with me today, is that being out in nature, and which is part of my career now, which I love, really grounds me, and it's super important to my life. And if get outside and put your feet on the ground before it gets too cold, it's just a really good feeling. So I'm 15 now, guys, and one job wasn't enough. because when you're 15, I don't know if it's still this way, but when you're 15, you can get a work permit, right? Well, one job wasn't enough for me because I was still overachieving, trying to get recognized by my family. So I decided it was time for me to get a job. So I got a job at a print shop through a family that I babysat for, because I did that on the side too. And I went there every day after school, and in high school I did work program, and yeah, I was one of those kids. So I went there every day, and I worked some Saturdays, and I also worked at a retirement home called the Blair House. And it worked out well because I could go from one job right to another job and after school. And nobody really knew that I was working 2 jobs and probably more hours than I should have been at that age. But it was great. I had a lot of fun. I gained so much experience at the print shop and customer service and business. I also learned how to smoke cigarettes the right way. And I can't believe that we were smoking cigarettes in a building full of flammable inks and paper. But we just had one rule. We couldn't take our cigarette up to the counter when we were talking to customers. It just blows my mind. That tells you how old I am too. And you'll be glad to know that I don't smoke anymore, and I haven't for like 25 years. But that was one of my little lessons from back then. In the retirement home, I worked in the dining room, and I quickly became connected to the residents. And again, older people were my jam. I loved them. I worked 7 days a week. It was a great deal. I didn't have to be in my tense household. I could feel like I was doing something. Maybe somebody would recognize that. And I got a lot of money to save for college, and I got more Guess jeans, of course, so I felt even better about that. The other thing that I knew is that in both of my jobs, I built community, and I felt very comfortable. I always felt comfortable, especially at the retirement home. People were loving, and they were glad to see you always. And again, it was like those faces that you saw back at the adult day center. Is like everybody was just happy. What I learned from that is older people, again, are my jam. And I loved hearing their stories. I loved their simple approach to life. They were, this is a definitely connection today. They were in the time of life where they were downsizing, and they were figuring out what the heck to do with their stuff. But they were from a generation where their stuff was really important to them. They worked very hard for it. And I really picked up on that and connected with that. That was something that really connected with my heart. And they lost a lot of their worry. They were more confident. They were more at peace. They could talk about anything, what they wanted. They grabbed onto what they wanted, even if it was more cake and they had to unbutton their pants. And I just thought, man, I want to be like that. Like, I want to feel that way inside of myself. I want to feel that peace and that confidence in living to the fullest. Another thing that I learned at that time is that mortality is real, and life is short. And this is something that's really come back strong for me over the last couple of years. And I think through COVID, all of us are kind of realizing that too. And that, you have to grab life as you can, because you never know what's going to happen next. I'm getting some weird sunshine going on my face. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to be a ghost in a minute. Looking back, during that time in my life, what I learned is that if I was busy working, then I had very little time to worry about other things in life. And that isn't, now today I know that's not a long-term solution. You can't stay busy your whole life. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. And still, I struggle with this today. Those of you that know me well know that I struggle with this today. But part of my journey. And so, move on. Guess what? I graduated from high school. I did great. And I went on to college. And as I mentioned, I wanted to be a social worker. And I kind of was already working on that a little bit in my career, my young career as a young child. the things that I was doing really lent itself to social work. So I started doing that, and I got a degree in sociology and a minor in gerontology and I got a degree in social work with a minor in sociology and gerontology. And those of you that know me through sustainability efforts are like, what? That doesn't make any sense, right? But it's part of my journey, and what I realized is that, and what actually I didn't realize, my professors realized, was that I was really best at community organizing, which is absolutely what I ended up doing, using those social work skills into community organizing. But during that time, I started volunteering at my grandfather's nursing home because he was there by then, and so did my grandmother. So I was there every week with her on Mondays. She and I and her friends would paint fingernails and put on pretty jewelry on all the residents, and everybody looked like $1 million in that place. And we had lunch together afterwards, and it was just a treasured time in my life. After my grandfather died, which was in college, my grandmother couldn't stop going, and I couldn't stop going either. I loved it so much. And so what I learned from that is that community is really important, and it is important to happiness, and it's important to survival. My grandmother, she built a community through that nursing home, not only caring for my grandfather, but volunteering. And it was part of her self-care. And, a lot of us were like, oh, you just need to go home and take a break, but for her, that was her community. And so I'll never forget, and I think about this every day, and those of you who know me personally know this to be true. She always said to me, this is a weird thing for her to say, because family was family, and it was very strong. And for my families, both sides of my family. But she started saying, I don't know what I'd do without my friends. And that stuck with me, because I thought, oh God, is the rest of the family going to hear you say that? Because it's kind of, in my head, my young head, I thought, that's a knock against the family, man, but it wasn't. It was part of her path and her survival. And it is true for me today. My friends are my family. They are the ones that get me through, and really are the ones that have been there, true blue. So anyway, that's what I learned. I don't know what I'd do without my friends. Toward the end of college, I started transitioning into other roles. I worked for the state of Illinois as an independent contractor, and I was helping those who are basically wrongfully institutionalized. And I helped them transition into community, and I moved on to actually hire people to help them. I supervised people that were doing the job that I was doing, basically. And I'm going to show you a screen. I'm remembering to share my screen. Hold on. There. Can you see it? Yes? Yes. Great. All right, let's move on. And during that time, I helped these folks that were wrongfully institutionalized. They had developmental disabilities or mental health issues. And they basically were stuck in nursing homes, but they had so much more. They had so much more opportunity, or they had so much more potential, but not opportunity. So my job was really to provide the opportunity. Ruth was one of my clients, and who had never been really outside the nursing home, and I got to help her move into a group home. This is before HIPAA, so I'm safe, but she taught me patience and boundaries, and always kind of be ahead of those who are ready to screw you over. And that's the truth. She was smart as a whip, and her schizophrenia was not going to stop her. She really, once she knew that you could be trusted, she was going to succeed and excel. But she also taught me a lot of patience and boundaries, because until she knew that she could trust me, it took a lot of testing, which prepared me for children, by the way. Okay, and then Ruth and Flora were my other main clients. They were best friends. They saw each other through extraordinary circumstances being institutionalized, and they taught me how beautiful friendship can be. And because we all need more Flora, because look at her, like that smile, that zest for life, like we all need that. Okay, so I will close that and go back to my, yay, there I am. Okay. So one of the things that I learned from that is that independence is key. Some of my clients were high functioning enough that they could move out and into group homes. They were all seniors. They taught me that you're not too old to try new things. Ruth and Flora, I took them to the casino, and they had never been out of a nursing home, and I took them to a casino. It was crazy. I also took them on a trip 2 hours away, and they had a big time, which is one of the pictures that you saw. I taught them how to order in a restaurant. I taught them how to do laundry. Very simple things that that we might take for granted, but they taught me that, you know, you can try new things, and even if it's scary. Another client that I had, you know, not all of them were that high functioning, but one of them taught me just as much as those others did. His name was Harold, and he was bedridden, and he did a beautiful job with painting and music, but he couldn't speak. He had been in an institution all of his life, probably had some developmental disabilities. He fell ill, and I went to visit him because it was my job to make sure he was okay and that his service providers were doing what they needed to do. And as he fell ill, he couldn't speak, but what he could do was raise his hands, and he raised his hands and moved my hair back and touched my cheek. And I knew he was telling me thank you. And I knew he was telling me goodbye. And that moment, I haven't thought about this in 30 years, but gosh, that moment in my life, really, I knew that there was something bigger. Didn't know what it was. At that time, it was, you know, much more religious based, but I didn't fully connect with what that was. But I know now it was a very, very spiritual moment for me. So he taught me just simple gratitude and the impact that you can make on somebody by expressing that gratitude. Meanwhile, and I know I need to zip along here. Meanwhile, I was close to my other grandparents. They were further away, but they had a big impact on me. And I'm going to share my screen again. Maybe. There we go. There they are. They taught me, my grandparents, my grandmother had 11 children. They taught me how to reuse, repurpose, mend, dig in the dirt, all of those great things. And which, you know, now you can kind of connect with it, some of the things that I do today, right? It's Turnip Green Creative Reuse, and it's composting and recycling. And the one thing that my grandfather, I was so excited when I, again, you know, trying to impress, when I moved to Tennessee and I bought my first house and I started a community garden. And one of the things that I with other people, you know, it's definitely a community effort. And I went to my grandfather, and I thought he'd be so proud of me because he had acres of gardens. And I said, you know, Grandpa, I started this community garden. And he said, well, that's a terrible idea. Everybody will take the food. And I thought, oh, that's not how I thought it would go. And so what he taught me is you don't have to listen to everybody, especially him. You know, it was okay to have your own thoughts and feelings on that. So when I moved when I did leave Illinois and I moved to Tennessee, I took a break from social work and I went back into printing, and I learned a lot while I was there. But what I really knew is that I needed to get back to social work. And sorry, I'm trying to.
Oh no, we might have lost Kelly. 1 second.
It's a really
Yeah,
cool.
definitely dropped off for us.
Yeah.
For sure.
She gone.
Aw. That was fascinating though. Goodness.
Wait, who, Kelly?
We lost the guest speaker.
She'll probably pop back in. She'll probably pop back in.
I was sitting here giving JC Lynn a lesson on how to get the seeds out of these flower stalks that we harvested. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. All right, let's move on. I'm going to skip a little bit here. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so in my career, I moved on to work with family caregivers. Again, you know, hearkening back to my grandmother, caring for my grandfather, and I worked for the Mental Health Association, and I worked for the what is now 50 Forward, and I helped family caregivers get a break because I knew that my grandma needed a break, right, way back when. And from that, I learned that self-care was really important, and that and you know, I kept telling my grandmother these things that I was doing. I was you know, working in her honor, and she didn't care anything about that. She didn't care anything about that. And I thought, okay, well, that's weird, maybe I need to do more, blah blah blah. So anyway, through my career, I did that, and did program coordination in that way, and I got recruited, and I started working in hospitals and in geriatric communities. And during that time, you know, I'd click around in my high heels all over town, and I was using those business skills I learned in the print shop, and I'd click around and talk to doctors and try to get people to admit their loved ones into the psychiatric hospital. And it was a really tough job. And ultimately, I worked around great people, one of which was in the psychiatric hospital. And I was clicking around, and I walked up to the tech, and I said, hey, you know, Mr. So-and-so needs help putting on his pants, and I didn't know what to do. And she said, Kelly, he puts on his pants the same way you do, one leg at a time. I will never in my life forget that. And I like, duh, you know, really brought me back down to earth. Also reminded me, what the hell am I doing walking around in these high heels talking to doctors? This is not me. I need to be working in social work. So of course I went back. That time though, was really impactful. I got to do Alzheimer's walks and Parkinson's golf tournaments, and I kept telling my grandma I was doing all this stuff in honor of her and my grandpa, and she didn't care anything about that. She did, you know, she just didn't care about that. What I learned from all of that experience is that I'm meant to work with people that have memory loss. My whole life, I do all these other things, and I'm going to talk to you just a little bit about those things in a minute. But I am meant to work with people that have memory loss, and I am meant to care for them one-on-one. So, okay, I'm going to try the screen share, and I'm going to try not to lose you this time. Hold on 1 second. All right, there you can see where I lost you. Let me see if I can get to another screen. Ta-da, ta-da. Okay, about this time, I met this woman, Lila and Pinky Parker. Lila was a powerful realtor, and Pinky was her husband. And I met them through a friend, Lila being the older woman with the cool glasses. And they were friends' parents that I glommed onto, and they became my, what I like to call adult parents. Lila, she was a true change maker. They were involved in civil rights movements, and I had never been around older people like that. And it just matched me. It was really impactful in my life. Her husband, Pinky, was an executive with the YMCA for his whole career. And they both just really helped me as my husband and I started to look at adoption, and they became mentors for us. and I'll just, never will forget them. I heard Pinky all the time telling me that I needed to be doing nonprofit work. And so that's, essentially what I went back to. What I did is I started working for the state of Tennessee as an independent contractor, and there we go. And I helped build the Tennessee Respite Coalition across the state. And during that time, we exhausted our grant funding, and we decided that we either folded, like a lot of times what happens with grants, they go away, or we become a nonprofit, and we did. And I'm really happy to say that that nonprofit is living on. I was on the board for a little while, and it still lives on, and I still get to be a donor and a volunteer, and it's amazing. But as things change in life, I had a season change. I learned through that experience that you can love something, work really hard at it, and also let it go. And that was a huge impact on my life. One that I still try to remember today. And but it was a season change for me, and I think that that was my takeaway from that. You can have change in seasons. You don't have to hold on to anything like that if it's not working for you anymore. So my season change was preparing to adopt children, as I kind of mentioned earlier. And so I started doing some one-on-one work with nonprofits. I started doing some consulting, and it was great. I loved it. It gave me a lot of opportunity it gave me a lot of flexibility. It gave me a lot of opportunity to work one-on-one with people, which I really enjoyed. I got a little bit outside of geriatrics, but I still went back to it with a couple of my clients. But again, I was missing something. And during that time, what I realized about myself is I needed something more creative in my life. We're finally getting to the sustainability piece, even though I've kind of hinted at it this entire time. All of these experiences that I had with older people really impacted me in a creative way. All of them were in a generation where they grew up where they were conserving, making holiday gifts, cooking from scratch, digging in the dirt, those kinds of things. And I needed that creativity in my life. I also knew that, watching people downsize over all those years and working with them, the older people, that they would suffer and stress about their stuff and where it would go. And, because they knew it had value and they wanted it to live on. And so they worked hard for these things, and they didn't want them to be wasted. And so you all can see where this is going. This was my push to start Turnip Green. And so I did. I knew how to start a nonprofit. I did my research, and so now Turnip Green really has culminated into all of these little lessons that I learned throughout my life. That in Turnip Green is a place where stuff can be valued. It's a place to explore your creativity. It's a place to build community. It's a place that allows self-care and expression. It's a place where you don't have to overachieve and you don't have to be perfect. And being imperfect is almost encouraged because it allows your brain to be more creative. It's a place where diversity and progressive thinking is embraced, like Lila and Pinky taught me. And it's a safe place. And through my presentation, you saw when I talked about all of those times where I said, my grandma didn't really care too much, right? Like I did all these things and she didn't really care too much. And the reason why she didn't care about all that stuff that I was doing in honor of her, in memory of Grandpa, is because I was already enough. And I don't think I realized that until later in life. I just kept doing and doing, but I was already enough. And I think that, it's taken me over 40 years to understand that. And I think that that's one thing that I'm very, very proud of for Turnip Green. And I'm definitely not the one that's implementing that now, but but that Leah, Sherry, and her team are continuing is that, you know, everybody that walks in is enough. As long you get a pass on anything you do, as long as you maintain that safe place for people. And so that's how it culminated into sustainability. And I'm going to share my screen for a minute and talk a little bit about what I do today, now that I've given you all my reflection, all my COVID reflection in life. Let me do this real quick. Okay. There we go. There's Louise Barnes from the Tennessee Respite Coalition. Sorry, I missed that slide. And this is Turnip Green. This is a fun time when we were raising money and right here and having a good time with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. And this is me with my Turnip Green shirt on, and a little hint to everybody right here that I have a sticker right there that says I voted, and I'm encouraging everyone to do that this year. Okay, just a slight little subtle hint there. And finally, the things that I'm doing today, I am working with the Tennessee State Parks Conservancy part-time as their executive director. I love it. We support all of the Tennessee State Parks. We're kind of the nonprofit arm of the state parks. We especially support their programs, like their junior ranger camps, their field trips, storybook trails, which in the beginning we were talking a little bit about what are good places to take kids. We have 16 storybook trails and are on track to have 24 by the end of our fiscal year, which will be June 30, 2021. And so those are great places to take kids. And we also started, because of COVID, a virtual junior ranger program. Next year, you'll see some health initiatives pop up, some animal education programs, and more trails. And this is a fairly young nonprofit, just a few years old. And so you're going to see it grow, which is one of the things I love to do, is help nonprofits grow. One of the calls to action I'm bringing you today is to join us for Party in the Parks at the end of October. And if you follow us on Facebook or you just get in touch with me, I'll make sure that you have the information for that. It'll be a free event. Of course, we welcome donations, because you know how that goes. But yeah, you join us for that. And the next thing I do is I could do some consulting with Actors Bridge Ensemble. Just a phenomenal organization. I won a little award from Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, and and I met Valley Forrester, who is the director of Actors Bridge, and we hit it off, and I just couldn't be more excited to be part of their organization. They basically tell the stories that Nashville needs to hear. They are edgy. They bring very relevant content to the community. They have a program called Act Like a Girl, which basically teaches girls, to be all of those things, teaches all of my look backs that I was talking about through my presentation. Takes care of that for them, teaches them to be confident and right away. And then there's also Act Like a Big Girl. So if any of you want to participate in Act Like a Big Girl, it's an amazing program. Helps us hone our voices. They do acting classes and performances, and they are having an event on October 15th. It is a ticketed event, but if anybody wants to go, I will buy your ticket. Just get in touch with me, because it is awesome. And it's a program where the Act Like a girls from this summer talk about the things that are happening, like the Black Lives Matter movement and some of the other relevant things that are happening right now. And it's pretty powerful. So I invite you to that. And just a couple other things, I'm going to wrap up. So just 3 more points and I'm done. I love Pet Community Center. I'm on the board. I got to put a little plug in for that. I'm a founding board member there. They do low-cost veterinary care. And so if any of you need frontline or tick or flea medicine for your animals, it's a great place to get it. It's low cost. And they have changed, Natalie Corwin, in fact, has changed the landscape in Nashville for pets, for strays and pets, and it's been really incredible. There are a few gaps in my timeline that I didn't talk about, and lessons learned, and basically what that boils down to is people, and you're going to find your tribe anywhere you go. And if you don't find that, then get out. And if there are still some things in there that you love about that place, people that really do belong to your tribe, but not enough of them to stay, take them with you. And finally, one more call to action, and then I promise I'm done. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm a survivor. Part of my gap in my timeline involves that. And I'm grateful to be here today and to talk to you. And if you are in danger or anyone else is in danger that you know, please try to help. And I certainly am available to connect on that if you would like. So I hope that this was helpful. Here's a little Grandma Pearl for you to end the conversation. Look for those that inspire you. Slow down, pay attention, and put that inspiration into practice. So thank you all.
Yay, that was amazing. Kelly, you're so inspiring. I really admire your story, and especially kind of reminds me particularly to spend more time with my elders and learn and listen from them. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I hope there was enough sustainability in there that it's still connected with everyone. Like I said, COVID, it does crazy things.
Did anyone have a question maybe they wanted to ask? We've got just a couple minutes for some Q&A. Feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like.
Hey, Kelly, are you going to start anything else?
Who is that? Who's
Leah.
That? Oh gosh. I don't think so. I really I'm in the phase of life I'm in right now. I think I want to slow down more, say no more, and look inward a little bit more. But, I have a problem, so it might happen.
I think that's totally fair. And I think a lot of people on the call would agree that you've inspired us too. So thanks for starting all of the organizations and all the work you do in Nashville. You're appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Kelly, I have a question. Is there a chance that Pet Community Center will open additional locations?
So we haven't finished our strategic planning yet. But I do know during the strategic planning process, it was talked about. They do have a mobile clinic. I don't think it's operational right now because of COVID, but the mobile clinic goes all over town. And if you need to be connected to that, let me know. I'd be happy to connect you so you can get the latest updates and stuff like that.
I used to be a trap neuter return volunteer, but I live all the way in Franklin now, so it's just so difficult to do that program when you live so far.
Yeah, for sure. And that is an intensive process too. Yeah, I wonder if actually there might be something going on in Rutherford that might be closer for you. I'm a little geographically challenged, so I may be wrong on that. But if you want to be in touch with me, I'll find out from Beth, who runs that program, that community cat program. I'll be happy to because there actually might be some.
Williamson.
Yeah, because they get requests all the time.
Awesome.
And somebody in the chat I noticed asked about Revolution. If it's Revolution 2020, it is online. It's an online. So it's Party for the Parks. Everything's Zoom right now. Everything in my world is Zoom, which you would think that I'd learn how to switch back and forth and I wouldn't get kicked out of meetings since everything's Zoom. But anyway.
What about the artwork behind you?
Oh, so one of the cool things that happened last year at Turnip Green, you know, I knew how to do all that nonprofit stuff, start nonprofits and all of that. But one thing I didn't do was really what pulled me to start Turnip Green. And that is create and be creative. And so last year I had the opportunity to be accepted into the Green Gallery at Turnip Green, and my husband and I had a show called Interpretation, and essentially I would create work and then he would write about it, or he would write about something and then, you know, poetry or a short story, and I would have to create from it. So see if I can do this right. This one right here is called Renovation, and I created that. And the poetry is kind of fitting. It's all about how, like, you aren't what your family deems you to be. And then this one is a Limerickin, which is a small piece that we did. And my husband wrote a limerick to go with it. And the Limerickin is, I knew we had to make small, affordable pieces for somebody. All the money that we raised sold for the artwork went to Turnip Green. So yeah. So it's mine. It's my artwork. It's actually left over from an event last night that I did.
Well, that is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Again, I cannot thank you enough. We are so grateful to listen to you, and especially stepping up and being our presenter at the last minute. It's just been amazing.
Thank you. Hey, Jennifer Smith. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And again, I hope that that it was okay that I went back in time. I know it was a little bit of a different presentation, but please, anybody be in touch with me. If you want to go to either of those events, I'd be happy to get you a ticket or a link to the Zoom. And if I can help with anything else that I mentioned today, or you just want to have a Zoom coffee, I'm happy to do that too.
All right, Renee, you want to take it away with some announcements?
Sure thing. Thank you, Kelly. All right, let's see if I can also share. All right, can we see this? Yes. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. It's October. That's crazy. Want to highlight our mission. TWIG is here to empower, inspire, and connect women who are committed to environmental sustainability. So thank you, everyone, for joining us and for helping us further our mission. Big shout out to all of our amazing sponsors. There's a lot on this list, so I won't go and name them all, but I will say, if you are interested in becoming a sponsor, or maybe your workplace would like to be a sponsor, we have information on our website at all the different levels that you can help us out, and we really appreciate that. We also want to welcome all of our new members and guests. So from the poll at the beginning of the meeting, we had 3 people say this was their first time, and just wanted to welcome the 3 newbies. And if you're comfortable, you can take yourself off mute and just say hello. We'd love to see who you are. All right, that's cool too. We're happy that you joined us. And then I also want to thank our new and renewing members from this past month. If you're interested in becoming a member, just head to our website, and we also have different membership levels, just depending on what you would like to give for a year. Upcoming meetings, we have Marcia Masula next month. And then December is our annual members feedback roundtable meeting, and we'll have some more information about that coming up soon. We really want to hear your feedback for the year and what you would like to see from TWIG next year. It has been a very different year for everybody, but I hope we were able to provide a lot of great content, a lot of great opportunities to still network and socialize and help each other out, even though we're all virtual. So December's meeting will look a little different than usual because we can't really do a roundtable, not in person, but we have some great ideas on how we can get your feedback. And then for next year, we are building out our calendar of speakers, but we still have some gaps. And if you would like to nominate a speaker, we have a new form that you can do that. We've shared it in the newsletter and it's on our social pages. It's also on our website, but it's just a Google form. You can fill out to nominate yourself or anyone that you think would be a great speaker for TWIG. And we did want to highlight this opportunity that was sent to us. There is a Women in Sustainability Awards that are seeking nominations. And this is put on by Envision Charlotte, and they're accepting nominations from women across all 50 states. So if there is someone in your life or someone that you know or someone that you're really inspired by, please think about nominating them. It would be really awesome to see some folks from Tennessee in this. Nominations close October 16th, and the website down at the bottom there, envisioncharlotte.com/nominate, that is where you go to fill out your nomination. And we'll share this on our socials too. I did want to give a shout out to these two students, Madison Tucker and Malia Hema. They have been helping us out this past month. Madison has helped us with our graphics. She's a graphic design student, and Malia has helped out with our grant writing. So these two women are awesome. We're so thankful for their help, and we're really happy that we got to work together with them. Thank you so much. And then finally, or actually I think I have one more after this, but the Diversity Inclusion Subcommittee has sent out the survey to all current members of TWIG. So you should have received this week. If you haven't received the survey, check your TWIG profile and make sure your email is up to date. There were a few bounce backs, so maybe if your workplace has changed since you become a member, you can always edit your profile when you log into TWIG. And it's a very quick survey. It's not required at all, but we really appreciate your feedback. This is really going to help us plan how we address becoming a more diverse and inclusive organization going forward. So please take the survey if you're able to. And we'll send out some reminders as well. All right, and then finally, the Iris's Book Club has picked the next book. So thank you to everyone who was able to meet for our last book. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning of the meeting today, but this is the next one, All We Can Save, and it's a collection of essays, and I think there's some poetry as well, and just shorter works in this whole big volume, and it's really, really exciting. We had a few people mention this book to us as something they were interested in having be the next pick. So please check it out. Because it's such a big anthology of works, we are asking if you would like to join us at Iris's, please read one or two and have that ready to share with the group when we meet. And that meeting will be in January. So we have a lot of time to read this one. And we'll stay in touch through the Iris's newsletter as well. If you're not on the Iris's newsletter, you can sign up on our website there, TennesseeWomenInGreen.com/irises. There's a new button. It used to not work. It works now. So please check that out to sign up for our separate newsletter from the main TWIG newsletter. And with that, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. If you have anything to send us, news, events, we'd love to see it and put it on our community calendar and share it. So just hit us up. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Renee. Bye, everybody.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye, everyone.